Right, hello people. Going to knock up a couple of rigs for you today. I'm here in my tackle and bait room. I bet there's a fair few of you want to get in here, but you're not going to see nothing because they're all my little secrets. With the rigs, the stiffer the boom section, I use Supernova. On the soft sections, I use Merlin. Now, the only reason I use two braids is one, when I open my rig board, I can look at the braided section and I know instantly whether it's tied on a stiff material or whether it's tied on a soft material. That's the only reason. The hooks I use are the ESP Raptor range. With the first rig I'm going to show you, you can use on a long shank, what do you call them, wide gate, or out like that. But I've found the best one is the curve shank. Mostly tied on a size 5, but I do fluctuate the hook sizes. Right, we'll crack on then. See you in a minute. I use two different size rings, 4.4 and 3.7. Get mine from Traditional Tackle. I think you pay about a couple of quid for 50 or 25, is it? I can't really remember. So, right, we'll get started on with the rig. First of all, whichever rig you're using, put that onto the end of a small baiting needle. Well, I'll get the buggers out. You'll find that easier when you come to sop this onto the braid. I suppose you'd want to tie the complete rig. I suppose you'd want about 6mm of braid. 6mm, 6 inches. You'd have Pratt Brine. Right, go in from the point side. I suppose I better go and get my glasses. There you go. In through the point side and then back through. You want to end up so as you got basically a multi-rig. Transfer your onto your loop. Right, so. And then you complete your multi-rig in the normal way. There you go. And that is your slip D arrangement. I know it looks bloody fiddly, but at the moment, well, I haven't got my glasses on. I should really start wearing them properly again. Now, the loop wants to be anywhere between the barb or just a little bit below it. Not too much, otherwise the ring could come off. That's a little bit too... Keep checking it until you get it exactly where you want it. Right, that's it. Get off. Drop your ring down. Now, the important part of this rig is when you tie in your knotless knot, make sure that the loop is not crossed over. I'm not going to insult your intelligence by showing you a knotless knot. I think everybody out there knows a knotless knot now. Start your knotless knot and go over both. Knotless knot done. Now the smaller tag end, and make sure it is the smaller one. Cut off. And there you have your slip D section. Can't even hit the bloody loop of the iron now. There you go. There you have your slip D section. Next comes the fluorocarbon and how I join my two together. It's a knot called the Albright knot. Very simple to tie, but there's one very important rule of thumb. Just bend over and crimp a little section at the end. Thread your braided section, so either top or bottom, it don't really matter, not at this point, and pull it so that the eye of the hook is touching the fluorocarbon. Whip round 5 times, going up, and then whip down 5 times again. Now at this point you've got to look to see which way you entered with the braid, because you've got to go out exactly the same way. I mean, I like to keep my braided section short, so my loop is a lot smaller. The bigger the loop you have, the longer the braided section. And I would suggest that if you are just tying this knot for a start, you know, you've only just started tying it, then I would use a big loop at the bottom there. All right, that's the knot tied. Bit of gunk around it, and pull everything tight. and there you have your supple section that you would have with a coated braid. Trim off. Now with the fluorocarbon knot end, I would trim that, I mean it don't really matter, but I would trim that as close to the knot as you could get away with. I mean, I've never had it happen to me, but I suppose it could. The braided section could end up sort of like that. Like I say, I've never had it happen to me. Where's my other? Oh, there it is. And that's basically the rig tied. Choose your length, whatever you want, whether it be 6 inches, 4 inches, 10 inches, 12 inches or whatever. And then I'm going to show you a little knot that I was asked on one of my other videos. I didn't know the name on it until I googled it, but it's called the Rapala knot. Now, you start off basically with an overhand knot. Okay, you got to leave a fairly long tag end there, right, and then pull it down, but not tight. Go back through the granny knot, if you like so, leaving whatever size loop you want. And then with the tag end, go round the fluoro 3 times. Gone round 3 times, and then with the tag end, go back through the granny knot. Go back through the granny knot. Bit of juice on it and pull tight. And then when that is, just give it another pull just to make sure. Then give it a, when you've steamed it straight, whoop, shit, drop that one. When you steamed it straight, you've got a dead straight loop. So that's my, well, I used to call it my combi multi-rig, but like I say, since I started using it the last couple of months, I've known it now to be the slip D rig. Still, caught me a lot of fish, that has. I found it best with a bottom bait presentation, and not necessarily just single bottom baits, double bottom baits and snowmen setup, and come to a push, you can actually use it for a pop-up rig by a bit of putty around that knot, and then it sits up sort of like that. So it's a low-lying pop-up rig, but like I say, I mostly use it for bottom bait presentations. If you're tying one up, what I would do is I'd tie up a couple, because sometimes when you land a fish, it's sort of like that, and when that's wet, it can be a right pain sometimes to get back over the eye. I mean, it's all right when it's dry, but when it's wet, you could. So just for quickness, I'd tie up a couple of them, and then if I get a take, just swap the hook length over, and you're back fishing within seconds on that one. Right, so that's one rig. Now the next one is going to be my bag rig, because I've already shown you my blowback rig. The next one is my bag rig, although I don't use PVA bags very much. There are times when I do use them. I use them more on day ticket waters, I think, than my syndicate water. Mainly because on day ticket waters I don't like chucking a lot of bait out. So I'll just get the components for that, and then I'll be back with you. Right, depending on what I'm trying to achieve, I'll either use a Raptor T6 or a Raptor, a big T Raptor. Mostly it's the T6s, because they're a pattern of hook that I like. Wide gate, slightly inturned beak point, but with a straight eye. Again, hook length is your own personal preference. And again, I use Merlin. I mean, I've been using Christ-on products since day one, I think, when they initially brought them out. 88, 89, I think, when they actually started with the multi-strand, of which I've still got a spool of. Right, depending on the length of your rig, I mean, I always tie my hook first, and I'll tell you what I haven't got. I'll be back in a minute. Right, sorry about that. I know those something I bloody forget. Right, tie a fairly big loop for your hair. Because this is going to serve as two purposes. My eyes are getting bloody worse. There's your loop. Right, transfer two. These are 12mm, but you can use 10s if you buy them. Right, two 12mm baits. And your hair stop. This one's going to take a lot of editing, lads. Hey, no, that ain't it. Fucking. Oh! going to be one of them days today. Right. Obviously, you know how long you want your PVA bag rigs. I don't put mine actually in a PVA. I'll just hook it on the outside. For a start, tie your standard knotless knot. Always like a little bit of separation between bait and hook. Always have done. What is that? Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, I've gone round 5 times on my knotless knot. Now what I do is drop the bait like KD style. Go 3 underneath. So it's not like a KD where you do a couple, then put your hair in. It's an actual, if you like, it's a reverse reverse multi. And look how, oh, hang on, let's get that right. And there you have it. That's my bag rig. The reason I have 2 baits rather than 1 is because then if your bag mix has got a lot of little bits and pieces in it, and your bait is the biggest in there, it's not viewed with as much suspicion, or that's what I think anyway. Also, on ejection, as the first one's being blown out, the bottom one will just drop naturally in the fish's mouth, and then it's finished off with a couple of line sinkers, or a line sinker depending on how long you want it, anti-tangle sleeve, and then a figure of 8 loop on the end. So that's a couple of my rigs. I hope you found it interesting. So yeah, I hope you found that interesting. As you can tell, I've got no beard no more. You don't have to use the products that I've used. You use what you got confidence in. But like I say, I've got confidence in those components. I mean, I've been using Christ on nearly, well, over 20 years, over 25 years I would say. Never had a problem with them. The hooks I've been using for 8-9 years I suppose, with the exception of the T6s, which I've been using about 4 or 5 years after looking around. So yeah, that's it for another blog. As I say, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you picked up a few pointers. If you want to use them, use them. If you don't, bin them. We've all got our own favourite rigs. They're just a couple of mine. So yeah, catch you all later. Bye.